I was a guest on a podcast last night, and one of the several questions that they asked me is, what are the things that I have seen that trip up firefighter candidates the most in the interview? What are the biggest impediments to them getting hired? Which is a pretty good question. I think would probably be useful for a lot of you out there that are looking to join the fire service or have an interest in the fire service of some sort. So my answer was three different things. And the first one was building a good reputation. That is really hard to do. It takes time. You have to have a good work ethic. You have to know how to play the game to an extent, make friends with the right people, but always be somebody that's willing to help, always willing to put in the extra work and go the extra mile. That's a whole different topic for another video that we could talk about at another time. If that's something you guys would be interested in, I'd be happy to make a video on that. But the second answer was be presentable. No fire department, really no organization across the board is looking to hire the overweight, sloppy man or woman that has an average work ethic at best. You want to be presentable no matter where you go. Seems fairly obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. But the third answer that I had to that question was, when you're getting ready for an interview, you have to practice, and you have to practice, and you have to practice a lot. These interviews are intense, and they can, no matter how prepared you are, you're probably still going to be a little bit nervous. They are designed to make you nervous. They are designed to pull as much information out of you as possible so that they can make the best decision for who they're going to bring on their department next. So in order to do well in these, you have to practice. So in this video, we're going to go over 4 different ways that I know that are the best ways that I've found of everybody I've talked to of how you can prepare to be the most prepared for your interview. So again, I'm going to ask you guys, as always, if you like this content, if you're going to find things like this helpful, just give the video a thumbs up. It's the easiest way for me to tell whether or not you like it and whether I should keep making videos like this. So we'll get right into it. The first and simplest way is to write down your answers. It sounds silly, but there's a connection when you think of something and you physically take the time to write it down. It helps kind of just brand that into your brain of, okay, when I hear these are the things that are going to come to mind. So on FirefighterNOW.com, we have 51 different possible interview questions. You're probably not going to get all 51. That would be a really long interview. But go on there, and I'll put the link in the description below. Click that link. Take all 51 of those if you want to take your preparation seriously, and sit down and write them all out. And you don't have to write these in essay form, but why do you want to be a firefighter? 2 or 3 bullet points. Tell us about yourself. 2 or 3 bullet points. Why do you want to work for this department? 2 or 3 bullet points. And sit down and have those. And again, you don't have to do all 51. Take 20 or 30 of them, or however many you're comfortable with, and write down your actual answers. You would be surprised how much that helps you remember what you want to say and keeps your thoughts organized. So that's the simplest and easiest one right there. The next one, number 2, would be to sit down, take a chair, and physically sit down in front of a mirror and ask yourself those questions back. And as you're asking yourself and as you're talking to yourself, you're looking at yourself in the eye. Now, this is important for you to do because a lot of how you are going to be judged isn't necessarily just what you say. A lot of it is going to be judged on how you present yourself. So if you're the type of person that comes into this interview and you have bad posture and you sit hunched over, or maybe you have a nervous tic and you kind of sit to the side, or you're real fidgety and you can't sit still during this interview, now's the time to work that out. And the easiest way to do that is to sit down in front of a mirror and watch yourself. And by the way, in all of these interviews, you're probably going to be in front of a panel. So another good thing that you could probably do is just take 2 pieces of paper and put a piece of paper over here next to the mirror and another piece of paper over here next to the mirror. And as you give these answers, look at this piece of paper and look at this piece of paper, and then look back at yourself as though you're speaking to a panel of people as opposed to just one person. Chances are you're not going to be talking to just one person, so the best way to prepare is to practice like you're in the real thing. But as you sit there, talk. Bring that piece of paper where you wrote down all your answers, either one, and notice how you sit. Sit straight up, shoulders back, head high, not in an arrogant or kind of a weird robotic kind of way, but just comfortable. If you don't know what to do with your hands, just take your hands and set them straight down on top of your thighs and speak like that. Now, it's okay to speak with your hands a little bit. If you haven't noticed, I talk with my hands a lot, but you don't, this isn't a very theatric thing. Answer your questions with your hands down here. Okay, so number 2, practice in front of the mirror. Number 3, record yourself. Chances are if you're watching this on a phone, a tablet, or a computer. The great thing about all 3 of those things is you have the ability to record yourself. So sit down with your piece of paper and your questions, ask yourself the question. So Mike, why do you want to be a firefighter? And give your answers and record yourself as what you're giving back, whatever your answer is. You will be shocked when you play it back to yourself how many ums and uhs and well, I guess, or this is a big one for younger generations, is using the word like. Stop using the word like on every 3rd word. It makes you sound, I'm sorry, it makes you sound uneducated, it makes you sound immature. Stop doing that. Chances are you're not going to catch that you do that until you sit down and you play it back for yourself. The other warning I'm going to give you is that if you haven't recorded yourself and played yourself back, you're probably going to hate the way that you sound. I hate the way I sound on recordings. I think that's normal for everybody. I promise you, you don't sound that bad. You're probably the only one that thinks that. So just sit down, set up the recorder, read your questions to yourself as though you're asking yourself, and give your answers back in a natural conversational flow. Stop the recording, play it back. You'll be shocked what you hear. So number 4, and finally the 4th and probably most important thing that you can do is to do a mock interview. Now, bonus points to you if you are somebody that is close friends or knows somebody very well that has a lot of experience in the fire service, or maybe you know an officer at a fire department or a police department or somewhere else where and they're willing to do this with you, right? They kind of have insider knowledge as to how this goes, what to expect, how they're going to answer and respond to you and go forward. But if you don't, that's okay. Find a friend, find a significant other, find a family member, and make sure that they're willing to actually take this serious. Obviously, that's important. And literally sit across from the table from them. Hand them your set of questions and have them ask you those questions, and you're going to give the answers back. And again, same thing, maybe set up 2 or 3 chairs on either side of that person, and as you're giving your answers, looking to the side, making eye contact. Even if there's somebody not there, put something up that represents eye contact with the people as opposed to just staring one-on-one with somebody. So those are some of the easiest and the best ways. Now, I can give you all sorts of tips and tricks and things like that and talk about how important eye contact is and how important good posture is and how important having succinct, good answers that you're not stuttering and stammering through, how important all that is. But none of that matters unless you actually put in the work, that you sit down and you write out your answers, that you practice in front of the mirror, that you do mock interviews. It's important that you actually take these tips and you put the work in, or else they don't do anything. It doesn't matter. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. One thing that I think I'm going to start doing is I'm getting a lot of questions in the comments. I just discovered YouTube Shorts. I figured I'd try that out to try just kind of, they're like 1-minute videos or something like that, and just answer people's questions directly through that. So look for those too. So again, if you like this video, found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys in the next video.